All right, so today we are on to the last section, the last new thing before your test, which is scheduled for next Tuesday. All right, so it is word problems. Okay, hold on. All right, so like I was saying, it is the last thing that we got. So it is all about writing and solving equations. Now, I should say, let me rephrase that. It's writing and solving equations and inequalities. So what that means, there's a couple big things that are going to happen. When you look at word problems, you're going to have to pick out key information, but you're also going to have to decide whether it is talking about something that is equal or something that has to be bigger than or equal to or something along those lines. So you got to decide if there's a variety of answers or there's one single answer. So we're going to start with this first problem in this first scenario. What it says here is that Selena Gomez's gym membership cost $180 to sign up, and then she gets charges for $6 each time she visits the gym. Demi Lovato has very similar, okay? It's a gym membership, and it costs $160, but then is charged $8 for every visit. Now, the question is, at how many visits will they have spent the same amount of money? Okay, well, we know we're going to have to write expressions that represent each one of those, right? So, let's start with Selena Gomez. Okay, Selena Gomez, let's set up how much money we would have to figure out that she would be paying. Okay, well, the big thing here is figuring out, is there a one-time fee and then is there a per visit fee or a per month fee or something like that? Well, yeah, there is, okay? The reason that matters is because right now we're really writing linear equations, okay? So what that means is you're going to have something that changes by per month or the amount you get, and then you're going to have a constant term. What is the constant term in Selena Gomez's charge? No. The constant term means it's only going to happen once. It's never going to change. Yeah, the sign-up fee. Just to go to the gym, it cost her $180. So in our equation, we know that no matter what, no matter how many times we go to the gym, it's going to be $180 if we sign up to do it. Now, the next thing is it tells them that she's going to be a cost of $6 per visit. Do we know how many visits she's going to have? No. So what that means is we got to find a way to represent that. Well, it gets represented with a variable. You are 100% correct. So I'm going to use X here. So in addition to the $180, every time she goes, it is $6. But we don't know how many times, so we're going to call that X. How you feel? Good. Let's come down here and look at Demi Lovato's. Okay, Demi Lovato's scenario is very similar. Okay. However, we notice that Demi Lovato, how much does it cost to sign up? $160, so it's a little bit cheaper for sign up. But what is it per visit when she goes? $8. Do we know how many times she went? So we call that X. Now, the next part is where you as the student have to decide what question is being asked. Well, here they ask you, after how many visits will they have spent the same amount? How do you think you represent same amount? Equal. You're 100% correct. So to figure out when they've spent the same amount, that means the two scenarios have to be equal. So I would go 180 plus 6x equals 160 plus 8x. Can y'all see that? Or do I need to use a different color? You can see it? Does that help or hurt? Helps. Perfect. Okay. So, as I'm looking here, now I've got to solve that. We all know me. I'm going to get my variables together. So the first thing I'm going to do is subtract 6x from both sides. So I get 180 is equal to 160 8x minus 6x is a positive 2x. Then I'm going to move my 160, so I undo a positive 160 by subtracting it. So I get 20 is equal to 2x. Divide both sides by 2. And I got x was equal to 10. Now, here is the one thing about word problems. I want to see units. I'm not telling you to write a scenario, but I'm just telling you I want to see units. What does 10 mean? 10 visits. It means 10 visits. No, so it was like after how many visits would they be equal? So all you got to do is come over here and say it would be after 10 visits. And that's what I would be looking for. Okay? Questions? We good? All right, let's go to the next scenario. Okay? The next scenario. Frederick has an account balance of $50. He deposits $30 after work every day. How many days will he need to deposit $30 before he has at least $500? Okay? So, first things first, let's come up with a scenario. How do we represent what he does each day? Well, we know his account started with how much? 50. So we know that his account started with $50, and what is he doing each day? Adding 30. Okay? So, he is plus 30, but do we know how many days it's been? No. So I'm going to just add a D for days. You could use an X. Doesn't matter. But that's the scenario. Now, this next part is the part that's a little bit different. Okay? What it says here is they want to know after how many days does he have at least $500. Okay, so does at least mean equal? No, it could be above it, right? So, but we need it to be at least $500. Well, we know we're trying to get it to match $500, but if it's at least, that means, hey, we're probably not using an equal sign. Now, in this case, the word at least does mean that it's like, hey, I could possibly use an equal sign, but I want to get you in the habit that it's not always an equal sign. So, it could be above 500, right? Well, what would we need to be above 500? This side? Yeah, all right, good, y'all got it. So to represent this to be bigger than 500, it would have to be greater than, but we said the word at least. So could it also be 500? So we want to make it greater than or equal to. Perfect. Now, from here, do we have enough in us to solve this equation? Yep. First thing I'm going to do, since 30D is all my variables, I'm going to subtract 50. 30D is greater than or equal to 450. And then, to get D by itself, I want to divide both sides by 30. Once that happens, I get D is greater than or equal to 15. Now, that tells me a lot of stuff, right? That means from day 15 and on, his account would be what? At least 500. 500 or over. But what is our question asking us? How many days? So it just wants to know, hey, when is the first day that it's at least $500? Yeah, day 15. How we know that is because 15 is the lowest number it could be to make that equation true. So it would be that of at least 15 days. That is the smallest amount of time that it could be to be above 500. We good? All right. One last equation, and this one's just a little bit different with how you have to think about it, okay? So in here, Ronald can work up to 36 hours a week. He has already worked 3 hours this week. How many hours per day could he work for the next 4 days left in the week? So there's a lot of information here, okay? So I want to organize it a little bit differently. What are the total number of hours he can work? Total number is 36, okay? So what that tells me, if they're telling me what the total is, that tells me, hey, that's what it's got to be equal to, right? So I'm just highlighting it. I'm telling you how I'm thinking about this. The next thing I know is he's already worked what? Already worked 3 hours. Okay? Well, there's a couple ways that I can do this. Okay? I could go ahead and take those 3 hours away, but then that gets really kind of tricky because it goes against anything else that I've ever set up, right? Now, the last thing is we got to find or represent how many hours he still has left to work. Okay? So, what I'm going to say to that is that he has H hours left. Okay? I'm using H because do I know how many hours per day? No, but I do know how many days does he have? In 4 days. So, watch how you would set this up. Okay? I know that I need 36 hours to be my total. Well, so far, how many have I worked? 3 hours, right? So 36 is equal to 3 because I've got 3 out of the way. But to make it equal the rest of my 36, I have to add in however many hours I work. Well, do I know how many I'm working? No, not yet, right? But I do know I have 4 days to get it done. So I'm going to use a 4. And then in those 4 days, I've got to work H hours. That's because I want to split it up equally over those 4 days. So 4 times however many hours that is, plus the 3 I already worked, need to equal 36. Are we okay?
Yes.
Okay? I mean, there's a couple other ways that we could do this, but I think this is the best way for me. So then it's all about solving it. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. 33 is equal to 4H. Well, to figure out how many hours I have to work each day, what do I need to do now? Divide it by 4. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of you are going to freak out right now. Because guess what happens when you divide that? You get a decimal. You get 8.25. Well, is that okay? Yeah, it's 100% okay. I know some of y'all are a little younger. You might not have had to work a job yet. And that's okay, but it's eventually, like when I worked in college, and it was in college, I was at Best Buy, okay? When you clock in hours, if you don't work an entire hour, it'll say, hey, you worked 15 minutes of this hour, so you were 8.25 hours. So it counts up to it. It's okay for that to work. So what we need to say over here is, how many more hours per day could they work? Well, it would be 8.25 hours per day. And again, because it's word problems, I like to see that. Y'all good?
Yes.
All right. So here's what we are going to do. I am now going to pass out to you some practice problems. That's what you're going to work on for the rest of this class. I have an answer key up here. I will also post an answer key to the homework online so that you can see that and check your answers. Y'all good?
Yes.
All right, ready, set, let's go.